see a whole lot of letters up on the board, so maybe there'll be faces to those. I just want to welcome everyone to the subcommittee. Members of the public also, if there's anyone there, for the June 25th, 25 Governor's Workforce Development Board Childcare Subcommittee meeting. That's a mouthful. For the record, my name is Susan Brager, and I'm the chair of the Childcare Subcommittee. Tiffany will call roll, so we're positive we have a quorum.
Chair Brager.
Here.
Robert Benner. Scott Black. Irene Bustamante Adams. I see her.
She's just walking in just now.
Okay. Sarah Millett.
Present.
Cheryl Olson.
Present.
Cam Green.
Present.
Barman Gulati.
Present.
Marilyn Kirkpatrick. And Dr. Tiffany Tyler Garter.
Present.
That's it.
Tiffany Vasquez, Office of Workforce Innovation. For the record, I hereby affirm that this June 25th, 2025 Governor's Workforce Development Board Child Care Subcommittee meeting has reached a quorum. I further affirm that the agenda notice for this meeting was properly posted pursuant to Nevada's open meeting law, NRS 241020.
And Ken, I thought you were going to leave us. You don't have to, though. Before we proceed, for anyone who speaks today, please identify yourself for the record. And if you are not a member of the subcommittee, please wait to be called upon by myself or give feedback during public comment. What I'd also like to let you know, sometimes when everybody's on the screen, if I don't, between Tiffany and myself, Tiffany and myself, if we don't see you, I mean, please speak up. It is a little bit different when I'm here and everybody's there. So what we'll do is we'll continue on to agenda item number 4, public comment. Members of the public are invited to provide comments at this time. As you know, no action can be taken on any matters during public comment until the matter itself has been included on an agenda item for possible action. Is there, and also, let me do this, for anybody who'd like to make a public comment, you can visit teams.microsoft.com and enter the ID of 246-983-845-4981 and get ready for the passcode. It is GU6 capital C S2D capital T. You can also dial 775-321-6111. When prompted, enter the phone conference ID of 966-674-08#. If they can make it any harder, it'd be amazing. I had to call into a hospital board meeting and I actually had to give up because I was driving and I couldn't do all those numbers. Okay, are there any public comments on the phone? Who is that?
I think that.
Okay, if there is, whoever that was, we could not hear you. Okay, any public comments online? Seeing none, if I missed anyone, you're welcome to speak out now. Okay, moving on. We will move on to agenda item number 5. Is there any discussion? Is this the minutes? Sorry, apologize. On the minutes, is there a motion to approve unless there's any corrections or additions or deletions? And George is now on if he wasn't before. Okay, could I have a motion for approval of the August 14th of the Child Care Subcommittee meeting minutes?
I move that we approve the meeting minutes as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Tyler. Is there a second?
I second. This is Cheryl Olson.
Thank you, Cheryl. There's a motion, a second. All those in favor signify by aye, or you can put thumbs up, aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, you can put a thumbs down. All right, we have to have some fun. All right, hearing no further discussion. Oh, wait, what are we on now? We did that. Never mind. I get ahead of myself here because I know what I'm supposed to do. We're going to move on to agenda item number 6 for discussion and information only. What I'd like to do is recognize Child Care Agency Manager Brooke to present on child care policy changes. And Brooke, thank you for the conversation that we had before. And if you would go ahead and share anything that you feel would be grateful and beneficial to our organization.
Absolutely. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for having me on the call today. My name is Brooke Yarbrough. I'm agency manager for the Childcare and Development Program that is under DWSS. With childcare, we're obviously undergoing a lot of transition and changes. So with that said, I will start with funding and kind of some of the most impactful changes that we've made recently. With the sunsetting of ARPA dollars and the COVID projects, we had to make some drastic cuts to the program, primarily with the income thresholds. So previously, the state median income that we evaluated for eligibility was set at 85%. Due to our current funding levels, that income level was reduced back in October of 2024 down to our intake evaluation level is 41% state median income. And then our renewal level is set at 49% state median income. So that accommodates for fluctuating income, drastic changes in income, bonuses, raises, everything like that. That 41 to 49% bracket does allow for up to a 19% increase in household income over the 12-month period. So as long as they're at renewal under that 49% state median income, they would still remain eligible for childcare subsidy. So that's the biggest change. Additionally, going along with that, we reduced the co-payment amounts. So previously, families would fall on a sliding scale for co-payments, anywhere from 0 to 7% of the household's income. We went to a flat rate co-payment system that was also effective October 1st. And the co-payments ranged anywhere from $0 up to $150. I'm going to pause for questions because I do see a few hands up. Tiffany, go ahead.
Great. Just a couple of quick questions. One, with the reduction from 85% area median income to 41%, exactly how many households actually lost access to childcare?
So we're still in a transition period. Previously, our caseload was well above 12,000. The sustainable caseload that we are trying to reach is about 7,500. That is the amount of children that we can sustain with the federal funding that we receive. Childcare doesn't receive additional state funds. We are solely funded through the federal government.
So nothing from the general fund is dedicated to childcare.
That is correct.
And you noted that there was a reduction in co-payments, that you went with a flat rate, but then you gave us a range. What is the range based on?
So it's based on income thresholds. And those income thresholds were evaluated based on other programs that we have. So most of our priority populations do not have a copayment. So those priority populations include NEON participants, homeless households, households experiencing foster care or CPS involvement, and then our SNAP ENT households.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else? Go ahead, Brooke.
Okay. So that was one of the biggest changes that we made as far as eligibility. The other large change, which you may or may not have heard about, is we are transitioning provider payments and subsidy eligibility determination under the state directly. So phase 1 of this project began back in February. Phase 1 is focused on the providers and eligibility for Southern Nevada, which was previously the work was being done by Las Vegas Urban League. Our contract with Las Vegas Urban League ends June 30th. And like I said, we are now doing the eligibility determination, so processing the subsidy applications directly. In addition, providers are receiving payment directly from the state. So those are the two biggest changes that have impacted Southern Nevada the most at the moment. We do anticipate transitioning phase 2 beginning June of next year, which would be Northern Nevada. Tiffany, go ahead.
Any questions for Brooke?
Tiffany has her hand up.
Just a
Oh,
couple.
sorry, I have to watch for that.
That's okay.
With this transition in the South, have you noted any efficiencies? And similarly, have you noted any gaps, any issues arising from that?
Yes. So I'll be completely transparent. The workload that we are doing, we're barely hanging on by a thread, but we're doing essentially with about a dozen staff. Previously, this same quantity of work was being handled by more than 70 employees of Las Vegas Urban League. So there are a few growing pains as far as staffing and resources, but we are managing. The bigger success is that previously providers that we were working with, I would say some of them were waiting up to 60 days, 90 days to receive their payments for services that were provided. We are issuing those payments in about 15 business days. So the efficiency is definitely there. It's just our biggest barrier right now is staffing. So there's huge efficiencies that we're identifying with the cost savings that we are anticipating. We're hopeful that that cost savings will translate to more children that we'll be able to serve. So instead of the 7,500, being able to evaluate how we can increase that amount. So there's a lot of transition. There's a lot of changes. We are in direct communication with the providers and the families. So we're doing our best to support them through the transition. We've put out monthly communication as far as, who they need to contact, what they need to do. We are very involved in the technical assistance aspect, making sure that families are getting the support that they need through this process, and then the providers as well. And with that said, those are the main updates that I have for now.
Thank you, Brooke. That's
helpful.
really helpful. And that'll kind of lead into, first of all, any other questions of Brooke before I go into agenda item number 7?
Just one additional
Dr.
question.
Tyler, please go ahead.
Is there an existing wait list, and was there a wait list prior to this transition?
Yes, so we re-implemented the wait list back in April of 2024. So the wait list was implemented prior. And like I said, because of the ceasing of the ARPA fundings and the COVID projects, we weren't getting that additional funding. That was not enough to get the caseload down to a sustainable level.
Just to clarify, part of our role here is to address to support the system to address unmet childcare need. And I'm trying to gauge what the need was before and after the transition. And so do you have a sense of beyond the 12,000 that you're currently serving, were there others that needed additional care? And more helpful would be how many individuals are needing care to go to work and are unable to because we don't have the system capacity right now. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And Tiffany, I appreciate that conversation and that question, because truly the amount of kids that we can sustain is nowhere near the reflection of the need. It's nowhere near. I mean, even when we were at our highest caseload, which was approximately 14,000 during the peak of, receiving the ARPA funding and everything related to that, even when we were at our highest caseload, there were still families that needed childcare that weren't having that need met. So when we talk about the need for childcare, the need is still absolutely there. 49% income. I will just be totally transparent. If anybody's familiar with federal poverty levels or how any of the other welfare supportive services programs work, we're essentially serving our TANF population and some of our SNAP population. The higher income levels, like for Medicaid and even the expanded Medicaid categories, those income levels are far beyond than what we can support. So we're not even reaching 200% federal poverty level as far as the families that we're able to serve. It's a little bit different because the other programs use federal poverty level. Childcare uses state median income to identify needs. But the crosswalk essentially is the TANF and SNAP populations. So if you're familiar at all with any of the other needs-based programs, it's a very low amount of income. I mean, for TANF, it's 130% federal poverty level. The lowest Medicaid category is 185% FPL, and we can't even reach that category with our income brackets. And again, that's because we have a fixed federal budget that we receive. And then with that budget, just so you have an overall breakdown. So we are required as a state with that federal funding, right off the top, 12% of our block grant is required to go to quality improvement efforts. Of that 12%, 3% is allocated towards infant and toddler programs, and then the other 9% is general quality improvement. And then separately, obviously, we have our administrative and operating costs. The majority of the block grant does go to support the subsidy program, which is approximately 75% of our block grant. And then with that 75%, like I was saying, the sustainable amount is about 7,500 children. So when we talk about need, it's really hard to identify because there's way more kids in Nevada that need childcare beyond 7,500 children, even 12,000 children, and at our highest, the 14,000. So definitely open to have more conversations about that if anyone is willing.
And we will. Anything else for Brooke before we do move on? And she's touched the tip of the iceberg, and that's why the next conversation or the next two, items 7 and 8 are really, I think, can help us to be futuristic about this and what we do. So if we are good, I would go on to item number 7. And it's really, I think it's really time. Pardon me, go ahead.
Oh, so I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to let you know this is Scott Black. I joined late. Was having difficulty with my computer, so I called in by phone. So I just wanted to let you know.
Nope, thank you so much. I appreciate that you're here, and we have marked that. And at the very end, I'll also ask again if there's anyone that, we did see George, and if there's anyone else that we can mark. Thank you for that. So here's where I'm going to go with agenda item number 7. It's for discussion information only, and it's a discussion to decide how do we, and I know, I mean, this committee is in its second or third year, and I think we're not, I don't want to say just now, but we're really starting to get a very visual understanding, and especially what Brooke just said, and I had spoken to her before, that 12,000 is not even the number, 14, 16, 18, 20 for all we know. How do we prepare for the next session? And one of my thoughts for the next legislative session on getting state funds for childcare. What if we did, and some of us would choose to do it, I would do it absolutely. And Scott, I would need your help with this, I believe. What if we could do a roundtable discussion with our municipalities, and that this is not just a state, meaning like Brooke's problem or our problem on the child care subcommittee here. This is a state problem and a municipality problem, counting the county. So our cities, our county, this is a statewide, committee. Do you think that that's something we could organize? I know it sounds like we have time, but I've learned that those legislative sessions get around very, very quickly. And if we're not prepared, we're going to be sitting here again for 2 more years, and we can't do that. So we need to see progress. We need to be dedicated. And I really believe if there was a roundtable discussion where we were in the same room and we invited our municipalities to find out what can we do together, whether it's lobbying the state or each municipality, says what they can do, and then together we forge forward. I'm open for any type of ideas and what we can do. And then that will go into Assembly Bill 185. I was really happy to help with that one. And that, I think, is something, and I don't want to go backwards and forwards, but so for right now, I get a little too passionate. Let's stick with item number 7. Does anyone have any thoughts, ideas, or if would a roundtable discussion with our municipalities or the powers to be within the cities of whoever holds those, whoever the department head is for that, to get together to really hash out what we do, how together do we get our legislative base to see that we're not providing for the children in the state of Nevada?
So, Chair Rager, may I respond to that really quick? This is Scott Black. I would be willing to, if it's appropriate at this time, I would be willing to speak to Mayor Goins-Brown to see if the city of North Las Vegas would be willing to host a conversation around childcare from the municipal level. We launched about 6 months ago our North Star Academy. We have a childcare facility that we're using for primarily first responders, and it's going pretty well. But yeah, I will speak to Mayor Goins-Brown and the director of our city manager and director of our neighborhood services and find out if that's something that we could put together over the coming months to have a symposium or a roundtable discussion at North Las Vegas City Hall and invite whoever we feel would be a good audience to have this collective regional conversation.
That would be fantastic. And you can reach out to me again or to Tiffany. And I think if we could plan that, I know people are, I'm fine with after the summer's over, even if we do it October, something like that. And then have to, then all of a sudden here we are into the next year trying to plan and get ready for that session. So I would be very grateful for that. And then we can plan together who we feel would be the people to either speak at the roundtable, come to the roundtable discussion, and see where we can go for that next session, because it's unacceptable that we have children that are, and we don't even have an age limit of how they can stay at home. You could be 5 years old if your parent thinks you're good enough to sit there by yourself. And I think we need to look at that also. I think it's kind of scary how many children are actually latchkey still. And I don't like more laws, but I think there should be some common sense law that a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old should not be home alone, and at least have something like that. So we'll put that on for the next agenda to see, I think that's in August, correct? Our next meeting, so that we can see where you are. And Scott, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. And then anyone else that has ideas on this, But that would give us a good head start to find out where we go, what do we do, and how do we together go to our state legislature to let them know that they need to carve out something more for Brooke to work with and some of our other municipalities. Anyone else? Well, let's start with that, because that could open the door to what we need to do. And everyone from the county to the cities, I cannot believe that everybody would not have an interest in finding out how many of their children are just at the park by themselves or home by themselves and need to have a better, a state that cares more about our children. And I'm saying that because I grew up here, and we need greater changes than what we've had in the last, I'm not going to say how many years, but many. Okay, that'll give us a good start to when we come back together in August, but I'm happy to meet with you or come to you, Scott, if that helps.
Thank you. I'll
And if there's
report back
no
to
more
you
on, I
once I have a conversation.
say again.
Oh, I just said thank you, and I will report back to you as soon as I have that conversation.
Okay, thank you so much. We can barely hear you, or else I can barely hear you. Great. So agenda item number 8 is AB 185, and I don't know if anybody had time to look at that, but I think that fits right in with what we're trying to do. It is a bill that it took away the ability for HOAs to say that there could not be a child care in their neighborhood. And I think that is so fantastic. I was very, I don't know, honored or graced to be able to send emails to our legislative base on that committee, and spoke with the lobbyist and gave him a few ideas, and it ended up passing. And I believe that they wanted to do it for every 200 homes. My suggestion was really just one per HOA. That's a good start. That's rarely going to happen. But if I would, from this, I would love to figure out how we get that word out there. So let's say there's a mom at home and she has 2 little children, and I don't know if they made it 6 or 10. I have to apologize. I didn't get back into this. I've had a really full schedule, but whatever the number is, if that mother was able to make not the 17,000 a child, but we could put in some requirements. She doesn't need the little toilets. She doesn't need the little beds, because we don't live like that in our own homes with our children. If they knew that they could make some money to help their household, but a mother, and I'm saying women because it is mainly women. If there's men out there, I will not leave them out, or we won't. That we could get this out there to the public to know that this can happen, and we could do something that shows them how they can do it, what they can do, and mothers could go to work that chose to, because I know there's women that want to go to work, but if they have 2 children, it's like 30,000 a year for daycare. They'd have to make 60, 70, and normally they're not in that line of work in most cases. I don't want to say never, which is not a word, but any other ideas that we can do to help promote AB 185? And we can do this again in our next meeting. So if those of you that would or could look into that bill and see if there's a way we could bring it back to promote and help those that would like to have an in-home daycare. I mean, when I grew up, moms helped moms, and you'd have 5 or 6 kids at your house, probably not knowing you were breaking the law if there was one back then. So any comments on that? I just think it's a good start for us.
Brooke has her.
Hi, this is
Brooke, go
Brooke
ahead.
Yarborough. I just wanted to mention that AB 185 was actually vetoed on June 5th by the governor.
Oh, I thought it wasn't.
No, it was vetoed. So that one
Gosh,
did
and here
not
I am.
pass.
You should have told me to be quiet. I was trying to watch that, and I did not know that.
Yeah, I apologize. So, and I didn't want to interrupt, but yes, AB 185 was
No,
vetoed.
please. No one let me know, and I have had really, the last month has been a little chaotic, and I apologize.
Yes.
Shoot, so now we have to bring that back. Well, that can be one, and the governor vetoed it?
That's correct, on June 5th.
And I just saw him a few minutes ago. I wish I'd known that. And I wish I'd known that was happening from the legislators that I helped get it moving. And that's unfortunate. That here's what bothers me, and I'm just going to say it right here. When people don't reach out, some of us are not up at the legislature. We're serving on 5 or 6 other committees or boards, or, you know, I'm elected in something else. And so I apologize for sounding ignorant on this, but I literally did not know that, and I feel a little stupid is the word I'm going to use. It was such a good bill. I don't know why he would veto it. I'm going to send him a message. Okay. Well, then we're back to.
If you would like to reach out to me through email, I can actually send you the letter
Okay.
if
I
that
will
would be
do that.
helpful.
And I apologize
Because
for not knowing that.
does, yeah, it does outline some of the concerns. So
Okay. Well, maybe between now and then we can get the next legislative session. They can clean that up. And I don't know why they didn't. I didn't get to follow it completely. I mean, I have like 18 things on my plate. So I guess I would have expected the lobbyists to reach out to me and let me know what was happening. Sorry for letting me go on like that. It makes me feel a little ignorant, quite frankly, but I'll move on. Okay, so that does take us back then. I'm going to move back to agenda item number 7. Scott will get back to us on that. I think we're just going to have to work harder and harder to make sure that some of these things can happen to help our state and help people that want to go to work but can't afford daycare. I cannot believe that happened and I was not know it. Any comments on anything we've discussed or really thinking we need to do? Because we really, this next legislative session, something has to happen for Brooke and her group of workers and what she does. It's unacceptable that she can only meet the need of 7,500 children when there's more than double of that out there. And after we do this, because I feel like the round table could be successful for the next session if more of us come together to fight for the same cause. Sorry, my allergies are terrible. I'll leave it at that for now. I'm just disappointed in myself, so I'm trying to get over it. I'm hard on myself. Okay, does anyone have any comments they'd like to make? Otherwise, I like to do please go ahead.
Cam Green for the record. Maybe last year this time we did talk about a program that was attempting to support families, moms, et cetera, to actually be able to buy a house or a condo to, sort of, get around the HOA issues or different things like that, where people were renting a home and wanting to go through whatever the licensing program, process is. Is that something that is still being done or talked about, or is that impacted by this bill being vetoed? I feel like it was a separate initiative in supporting people through home ownership and being able to go through the standard, license process.
That Commissioner Kirkpatrick was trying to help us with that in the county. And we'll put that on the agenda again because it is very worthwhile and something we can do. So between having a roundtable discussion, that could actually go on that discussion. It really encompasses everything we're trying to do. And I guess for me right now, I won't give up, but I'm a little, I'm not a little, I'm a lot disappointed. And it's just very unfortunate. This isn't my job or your jobs. And we're trying to stay, and I really am trying to get over that I would not know something that I should know. I'm just disappointed, not in us, because we keep trying to do things, but I really feel like Councilman Black, if you're able to really get that to happen, and I think Mayor Goins is someone that understands that. She was recognized by American Mothers recently for Woman of Achievement, and then came and spoke about some of these issues at a meeting that we had. I will be shocked if she's not really open to wanting to do this, because I know her life story and the people around her. I think this will be something that she would want to help us with. So I don't want to, I hope all of you in here.
Marilyn is on.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, whoever has her hand raised, I can't.
I think Mayor Goins Brown will be highly receptive to hosting this conversation. I'm highly confident that he'll be able to help organize it. And also, Chair Brager, don't be so hard on yourself. We're all in this together. It's a bummer about 185, but we'll forge ahead. So it's okay.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm usually very hard on myself.
So for whatever it's worth, I didn't know either.
And I appreciate that. All right. I just want you to know that normally Our meetings will be an hour or less because we're really good at what we discuss. Brooke, thank you for everything you did. Dr. Tyler, you're just Dr. Tyler to me. I appreciate that. And Scott again, and Councilman Black, to be formal here. I appreciate what you're going to do. So I hope all of you that are on this committee will stay and know that we will make progress, even if it takes us the next legislative session. And if we do these roundtables, starting with the city of North Las Vegas, we'll ask, of course, all the municipalities and those that we know can bring something to the table. So with that, if there's no other comments, and I don't, please interrupt me because I can't see who's doing what on the screen. And I'm the only one here, so it's difficult. Was there anyone else besides Councilman Black and Mr. George that came in after we took roll call? Okay, seeing none, what I'm going to do then is we do have more public comment. Is there any public comment? There's none in Las Vegas that I can see unless somebody is, I'll go to the online public comment. Anyone online? Anyone on the telephone? And before we actually get off, is there anyone on the committee that feels like they have something they would like to share or say? I'd love to barge into the governor's office right now. I did see him in the hallway before I came in here. But, okay, thank you to everyone again. I think that we're now starting, I'm going to say, our new kind of year on this, and I believe that having that roundtable will make a huge difference. So, okay, I appreciate all of you more than you could ever imagine.
Chair Rager,
Have a good
may I
afternoon.
interrupt
Be
one more
safe.
time?
We'll be back in August, I think it is. Don't give up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.